And Paul speaks of being a living sacrifice. And I love this verse, and it says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God." And he says, this is true and proper worship. All of those sacrifices, all of the things that we've done, all of the things that people don't even know that you've made as a leader, these sacrifices that you've made as a leader or a pastor, those we need to do from a place of worship, not to gain favor from God. And we all know that. We all know that that is where that heart needs to come from, but I still believe that we still struggle with it. I've seen so many pastors and leaders fall into this place of pride and never deal with it, because pastors aren't supposed to struggle with that, right? We're not supposed to feel entitled. We're supposed to embrace the idea of presenting ourselves as a living sacrifice before the Lord. But the reality is that we look at a man that God said, "Hey, have you considered my servant Job? He's a righteous man." And Job struggled with it. I struggled with it, and I'm so sure that many of you have struggled with it as well. And it goes on to say in verse 2 of Romans 12, he says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The patterns of the world are pride and entitlement. Our culture teaches us that if you sacrifice, if you do these things, you will be rewarded greatly. And the truth is that our reward is getting to be with our Savior. It's getting to be with Jesus. And those rewards don't always come as quickly here and now as we may want them. We've been called to ministry. You've been called to a position of leadership, to be a pastor, to be an elder, to be a deacon. Whatever that position of leadership looks like in your life, you've been called to it. But we have to keep ourselves in check. We have to have a right heart. We have to surround ourselves with men and women that will hold up our arms and that will confront us and rebuke us when we're dealing with those things. And we have to have a heart that's moldable, a heart that can be transformed before the Lord, a mind that's not transformed to or conformed to the patterns of this world, because that ultimately will end in pride. He says that we should be a living sacrifice, and the concept of sacrifice is that I'm offering something and not expecting anything in return. So as a leader, this call and this gift that God has put on our life, we're called to use it as a living sacrifice as unto the Lord, a true and proper form of worship. And we have to come from a place where we expect nothing in return from the Lord for what it is that He's gifted us to be able to do for Him